Heidi ho, everyone, and here we are again. It is Tuesday, the 11th of February, and you are tuned into Learn to Trade Live and Free with me, Jeff, coming to you live from Tasmania in Australia, and soon to be joined, well, I think I'm soon to be joined by my mate Ash, who will come to us live from Brighton in England, where I suspect he's chomping at the bit, just busting to get short the footsie. We'll see about that. Anyway, in the meantime, what we'll do is prepare for.
Morning, mate. Sorry I'm
Hey,
late.
g'day, mate. How you going?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good.
Very good. What
Yeah,
triggers
well,
cause it to be very good?
it's just we took a hedge yesterday in the market and it's popped up, so it's proving
It
to be
paid out.
it
Paid
paid
off.
off. Yeah, yeah. So good decision yesterday. So I'm quite pleased with that.
Good man. What today then?
Well, today we should really be looking for more long. The way that the market has popped up, it looks fairly strong to me. So after the pound trade, we'll go through it and see where we could get in along. I don't really want to trade the breakout, but it might even be strong enough to trade that, but we'll see. But I'd like it to pull back a little bit, but we are looking to go long now. Is that you or me?
Yeah, there's some weird stuff going on here, but that's
Oh, okay, mate.
there's weird stuff goes on every day, so I just ignore it
Yeah.
pretty much.
If it's
That's the
not
wonder.
weird, then we're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So should we set up the pound trade and then come back to you for a little
Yeah,
bit
let's
more?
set up the pound trade and have a chat about what we should do with the footsie.
Okay, we had a small winner, and when I say small, I mean small. Winner yesterday was only 6.6 pips on my charts, but a winner, I suppose, nonetheless. Let's see if we can find one today. It's a matter of toss a coin, I think, today as to which way we're going to break out of the Asia session. To be fair.
Yes, well, we got GDP later from the pound, so
Mm.
that might put a few spanners in the works.
Anyway, we'll set it up and see if we can get some cash in the bank before all that happens, and hopefully we're in a position to take advantage of whatever way that goes.
Hmm.
Righto, the long will be placed at 1.2932. So let's do that. It's a terrific Tuesday, so we're going at full 1%. And we are looking for a buy order on the first one. Did I say 1.2932?
3-4. Oh,
Did I say
3-2.
3.4? If I said 3.4, I shouldn't. It'll be 3.2.
3-2.
So 1.2932 is the entry for the long and therefore the stop loss for the short. The stop loss for the long will be 1.2885. 1.2885. And we'll Vicky Verka those for the short, which we will now place. And of course, if you're just tuning into this for the first time, we are beta testing this breakout trade, first candle of London session. And we started off fairly well in November into January, but since then we've given a fair bit back, I've got to say. But lately it has improved. February's improved on January, that's for sure. Sell this one, isn't it? Sell stop. And of course, I can't remember the levels. 1.2885 from memory. No, that can't be right. 2895. Looks a bit. Hang on, let me just get that right. The low is 1.289 for right. So the entry is 1.2885. I was right in the first place. And the stop loss on that one will be 15 above the high of that bar, which is 1.2932. There we go. We are set like jelly. And just repeating, if you are trading this, then has to be very, very low risk, guys, because it is in beta mode. I'm trading this at 1% risk because Paul's a very generous guy, and I'm actually trading it on the Actions to Wealth account. So I'm okay with that, and thus far I haven't been pulled up by the boss, so we'll continue to do that. We've only got about a week or so to go in this beta test, and we'll tweak it a little bit if I deem it to be an appropriate strategy or system to trade, and we'll go from there. But they are the parameters you've got for today. 1.2932 is your entry for the stop, with a stop loss at 1.2885, and vice versa. Entry for the short, 1.2885, stop loss 1.2932. Once one is triggered, cancel the other, and then trail on a 15-minute, pardon me, 15-minute 2 bars. So in other words, if you've got 2 bull bars, as we did have yesterday on the 15-minute chart, we continued to trail that up once we got taken into the trade, and then it came back on our stop, on our trailing stop. And as I said, we only had a small profit out of that yesterday, but a profit nonetheless. Right, Ash, back to you and the FTSE. As you guys know, I don't trade the first candle of London session. So Ash does. Let's go to him, and then when he's done, we'll come and have a look at some currency pairs.
1 second. Sorry, mate.
You're right. I'll have a look at the pound whilst you're deliberating there, and give you an idea of exactly how I would analyse this particular currency today. It looks, for all intents and purposes, and I think we said just exactly the same yesterday when we were doing analysis, that we have broken the strong support level that has held this cross up for, well, let's count the days, shall we? Pre-Christmas, certainly. Let me put a little number on that. That's not the tool I meant to grab, because the control panel is only just before Christmas, day before Christmas, where everything's supposed to rally, isn't it? The day before Christmas. Certainly our spirits do, and it looks like the market did as well, pound versus the dollar. So since that time, we've had the hardest quest beset us, and that is breaking back through that level. But on Friday, it was deemed, on Thursday and Friday, it was deemed appropriate to smash through the trend line number 1 and then the horizontal level number 2. We have had a retest of that. You good to go?
Yes, good to go, mate. Yeah.
Okay, we have had a retest of that, but what we haven't had is a retest of the trend line, which is broken at a confluence area of weekly pivot. I find that somewhat interesting, and may well keep me out of a short here, as will the oversold nature of the beast. So I can't see myself going short until we do get a far more deep retracement, if you like. We shall see. Stranger things have happened. Righto, mate. She's all yours.
Brilliant. Okay, so no problem, mate. So we are long the FTSE as well as the short, but I'm liking the long here. There's no reason to suspect this is fading just yet. Maybe somewhere around about the 73.40, 74.40. There could be a little bit of weakness. We've just seen the market pop up. Let's just put one more line in place here. What I want is this chart here, and I want this here. So we are at a level of resistance here, and it looks like around about the 74.40 may well see us start to cut back a little bit. We just see it popped up here, but that's the area there, 74.38-ish. So I think there probably will be a little bit of resistance here, but that's not a problem. You know, we've had a fairly decent fly to the upside. That isn't a major issue, because what we're really looking for is a decent pullback to add to our position. So I've got a combination of trades in the market right now, but we kept that long on yesterday, which I hope you guys managed to get on board with. Now, effectively, we were talking about the hedge, which what I ended up doing was I think I got a hedge at quite an expensive price. So when it popped up, I took a tiny bit of profit, and when it came back down again, I managed to add, because I don't know if you guys remember me saying, but yesterday looked like a fairly choppy day. It looked like a fairly sideways market movement. So we were able to play around a little bit with getting out and getting in. So that's what I did. Today certainly looks like a trending day. At this particular stage, we should be looking for the longs. I'm not really too keen to be looking at the short just yet. I do think that there's probably some resistance up at this level. I think it's going to struggle to get through that the first time of asking. Certainly before we have a GDP data from the UK, I don't anticipate us taking off through beyond this level right now. But for us to really flip positions now, if you like, and getting shorts, which I still believe in the short longer term, but I think that we're probably going to have to ride out a little bit more upside with this particular market. So rather than flipping positions and looking for the short at this particular stage, let's let things calm down a little bit. I think there's probably a decent argument to stick with a long. I don't, as I say, anticipate it's going through this level. So if you're a scalper, not the worst thing in the world to be selling this market here, and just aim for, I don't know, 10 pips is probably all you're aiming for to the downside. But as I say, I'm not really anticipating this market taking off at this particular stage. I think it's much more likely to pop back into this range at some point. Maybe even closing the gap before we actually go anywhere. So let's see what happens with that. But yeah, let's just quickly check the news and data for the day, and check what might be actually driving this market. Now I know this is popping up, but as I say, I've still got a little bit of a lack of confidence about it really kind of taking off at this level. I don't think it's going to do that, but let's have a look at the news and data for the day. Where are we at? Just want to bring in. I just want to bring in Forex Factory just so we've got an idea of timing here. So the GDP, preliminary GDP from the UK is due out at 9:30. That's probably the time that I wouldn't mind seeing a decent dip down to give us a decent relatively speaking, that is, dip to the downside to get us a trade and get us in where we need to get to. So we'll see what happens with that. Let's just check the pound for right now. Well, the pound is pretty solid. It's pretty stable at this particular stage. So it doesn't look like it's the pound which is driving the FTSE currently. It looks like it might even be creating maybe even a higher low down here. Maybe the anticipation is for those GDP numbers to be fairly solid. Let's have a quick look at the S&P, because these markets really did take off. When we kind of look at these on a clean daily chart, then we see that yesterday it managed to break through, and it's making fresh highs today as well. So all-time highs in the S&P. Oh mate, it's just it's so keen. This market is so unbelievably keen. It's astonishing, really. But I'm still looking for the short. But I think it's worth keeping this protection in place just in case, because the market does seem keen. As I say, I'd be quite surprised if the FTSE was to get too far away from this breakout area.
What was that last chart you had on me?
That was the Dow. So this is the Dow on the daily.
No, it's the very last one you had before that, but I don't know what it was.
This
you
one?
were just flicking through. You probably didn't even say. No, it's one after that.
Oh, okay, that was. Might be this.
That's the one. That's interesting.
Yeah, so this is the FTSE 100 on the daily chart. So it has popped up, and it is an interesting chart because we've been talking about this inverted head and shoulders, which is currently working out. as I say, I don't really see I don't anticipate us popping up too much further beyond where we currently sit. But if it was to do that, then we're probably looking for this neckline before we're coming back, and then popping back down to this area before we're looking at the long. But I don't know. Maybe it could happen. But as I say, I'll be quite surprised if we were to really surge forward this morning before the GDP data is released. I think that the GDP data is probably may well put the brakes on this a little bit. But when I look around at the barometers, certainly the FTSE 100's market top 20 companies are all in the green, so it is definitely a buyer's day. Not really something we should be messing around with. Probably to even scalp thinking about it. I was saying that maybe you could scalp into the inside of this, but I don't even think we should probably be doing that, given the confidence that's out there. There's weakness here. When I look at this market here, there is weakness up here, but it might prove difficult to pick where the high is. And as I say, I would be surprised if we really took off from this point and went. I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be surprised at all now to see us pop back down to here and then go, or maybe down here and then go. But it doesn't look at this stage that we're going to get to close this gap. But a little pop down first of all, I think would probably be likely initially. So if anybody thinks they've lost the opportunity, I don't see that. I think that there's every chance that there's another opportunity. It'd just be maybe a shallow one here, maybe a slightly deeper one here, but the real one is down here. And the reason that's the real one is that when we flip this to an hourly chart, there's a little trend line along where the gap sits as well. So that'd be a fantastic place to try and get the long on. Yeah, it just depends on what everybody did yesterday. If everybody's got their hedge on, then I would ride it out. I would just leave it and ride it out and let the market do its thing. Let it take a few people with it. We might, crazy as it sounds, we might even get right back up to these highs before really drifting to the downside. So I think leave things as they are.
If that high goes on the daily, that one there that you're approaching. Then you're probably going to have a look at those highs again, aren't you?
I would have thought so, mate. Yeah, I would have thought so. It's just very difficult when I kind of think about the fundamental driver for this market. I can't. I'm struggling to really know what it is. I mean, I think maybe the Jerome Powell aspect is key. What have we got today? Yeah, you see, we got ECB President Lagarde speaking later, plus Jerome Powell later on as well. So it's possible that people are just willing to buy into those statements. I don't know whether either of those two central bankers have given us some kind of indication of what they're going to say, and that's why we're so keen up here. But the market is incredibly hot right now, and the FTSE's the laggard. If you were to kind of like have a little walk through all the other markets that we've got, this is the CAC are on gap to the upside, and but these again are fairly close to all-time highs up here on the CAC are on. This is the China 50. Now I don't know whether that's the not sure what that would relate to actually. This is the Nikkei, fairly close again to all-time highs. The DAX finally is even closer to all-time highs. So an incredibly hot equity market right now worldwide. And then let's have a look at gold. Gold really putting in a potential reversal pattern here. It's possible that's taken. Yeah, looks to me like gold is actually starting to put in some sort of reversal signs and signals for reversal here. So if gold starts to cut back, then those equities could continue to go higher and higher and higher. But I don't know, mate. I'm just a bit. I'm still. We've got to go long for right now. The near term is not suggesting that we go short by any stretch, and it was, but we flipped positions. Not completely, to be fair, until I get my shorts off the table and let these longs go. I won't be flipping positions, but certainly sentiment-wise, we've started to flip the mindset. So now it's really seeing if we can get on board to get some extra money. Now, if that doesn't happen, what I will do with a hedge is allow the hedge to make the money, and if the market starts to turn, then I'll remove the hedge, so then I am net short with some profit in the bank. So that's the idea, mate. That'll be the plan for right now. But markets don't look to me like we're going to have a risk off day today. They certainly look risk on.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
I'm guessing you're going to probably touch on the Aussie, but I wouldn't mind having a quick look at that for my own
go for it, mate. Yep.
My own benefit. So let's just have a quick look. Aussie yen is looking like this on the daily, actually pushing forward a little bit on the Aussie yen should be pushing forward, shouldn't it? So the Aussie yen is pushing forward. The dollar yen as well. Let's just quickly check the dollar yen. Dollar yen continues to make some fresh moves to the upside as well. So looks fairly similar in some respects to the FTSE 100 with a inverted head and shoulders with a very high right shoulder.
In particular, Aussie yen. I think you said it before. I think just let them go and give us the best price we can possibly get to short.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. The price to the downside. Certainly it would be suggested that it's not here. So this is the Aussie dollar, which is just struggling a little bit off the bat. But checking the euro as well. Euro is in all sorts of trouble. I mean, look at that move to the downside.
Yeah.
And you know what I like about the euro is that it really does respect levels quite regularly. It's not always, but look at the respect for these levels here. Decent. That's where the level of support was, and that became resistance, and it came back up, tested it, and it's tested this trend line, and it's just gone. I love the euro dollar. As an example of a chart which does respect levels. And as I say, it doesn't always do it. But if I was to take this, from this point here, there's the area that it got resisted, and it pops up, and it comes back to that area, and it goes. There's resistance. It pops up, comes back down to the area, and then it goes. Doesn't do it that time. Comes down to this area of support, comes down, comes back to support, and it goes. There's the resistance point there. This is where it gets a little bit sticky in this area here. But again, we're starting to build trend lines along here. And again, when we get to this point here, it pops up again. It respects this previous high to give us that right shoulder, plus this area of support, comes down, breaks through, respects resistance, goes, comes up, respects resistance, goes. So down here, you'd be kind of looking for a long into this area. It looks to me like a pretty nice looking chart, the euro dollar. I always kind of I like it as an example. I mean, I haven't really figured out a way to trade the euro dollar to my particular system, but there is a way to do it. It's just I haven't really given it the time. But I wouldn't mind starting.
Should work well.
Yeah, it absolutely should. Yeah, just the way this one respects levels, it absolutely should work really well.
We'll have to do a workshop on it, mate, at a bar or somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I mean, because you really, I suppose maybe one of the reasons I don't trade the euro is that I listen to what you're doing with it, and because your approach is so different, then the levels don't quite they don't match. Yeah, exactly. So maybe that's one of the reasons. But yeah, that's where things are at anyway, mate. And as I say, the FTSE 100 is still. I'm struggling to see how the FTSE is sustaining the upside right now, but it continues to push higher. But I still think we see this point, and I still think we see possibly that point. So don't be too concerned, anybody, that you're not going to get an opportunity, because there's not enough strength here to take us to keep us going at this particular stage. I don't think this is going to be a parabolic move that doesn't come down at some point in the next hour. So I think there's opportunities to buy this at some point today, in the next hour, as I say.
Right, mate. Happy days. I wish I could put that hour thing into practice for what I'm waiting for, but what I'm waiting for, I've been waiting for nearly 2 weeks now. So I guess an hour is not going to make too much difference. Should I take a look at the potentials here for me today?
Yeah.
Righto.
Interested to know what you think about the Aussie and all that kind of thing.
Well, that's pretty much where I'm going to concentrate things, because that's
great.
That's exactly what I see and what I've been preying on, PREYING, for the last couple of weeks. Pound is sitting in that, it has had a little break to the downside. I'm on a 15-minute chart now because that's where we'll trail, but really nothing happening here on the pound as yet. You would probably expect that to be the case with a speech from the boss man coming up in the not too distant future. So let's go. I'll go Aussie dollar and then work my way backwards, I suppose, is the best way to go. Now, Aussie dollar, when I have a look at the Aussie dollar, what I see is a very strong support level that we've been trying as hard as we may to smash through. And this is very common on US dollar pairs at the moment. We've been trying to smash through the support. And of course, the monthly chart here suggests that last month's bar was the best attempt yet to get through that, and a somewhat determined attempt to get through that. Fell short by the barest possible margin, shall we say. But we're now getting a little bounce off that level, as you would expect. And if I go to the daily chart, that's what that looks like. Ooh, is it tough to trade short here? Hell yes, it really is, because you do have that that very strong level that we've just pointed out, which has been the flavour of not only the month but the year, and the year and a half, maybe even 2 years. Or do we go back even further than that? I suppose you could throw this back in here, but almost there in 2015. But let's call it the last year and a half, shall we? That we've been trying to break through this unsuccessfully. We've also been unsuccessful in coming up to the trend line, which of course does go back to 2013. We had one hit back in 2017, failed on every attempt to get there since that time. It's not just the technicals here that are in play, however. And if it were just the technicals that were in play here, I wouldn't be as bearish as I am. I would be looking for a bounce here and an opportunity to trade back to this trend line at least, and maybe even for reversal at some stage. But the fact is that the Aussie is under such immense pressure because of fundamental situation with bushfires, coronavirus, etc., because it's such a commodity-based currency as well, and commodities not doing so flash, in particular iron ore. We've got our biggest trading partner in China in lockdown. It just defies any logic to me that you could be bullish the Aussie at the moment. So for that reason, I'm not, I've got to say. But that said, I just can't jump into the market short here. It's just too tough. So I've got to expect and hope for, I suppose, fingers crossed, for a big retracement. And big is not kind of what we're getting. We've had some nice retracements in the last, this was daily bar, this was last week. In fact, most of last week was a rally, and we were waiting for an opportunity to trade this short again. Could have traded that bar there, I believe, but risk to reward on that, again, trading straight into that support level, very, very poor. And you might have got a TP1 out of it, but I don't think that's where I need to be. Where I need to be is up here somewhere. Here's where I want to get back into the shorts, not down here. So it's just a waiting game for me. If I wanted to trade it on the smaller time frames, and I attempted to do that on Aussie Yen one day last week, I think it was even on Monday maybe, and that was way too early. You can see that the weekly pivot, which is of course another option for a lot of people to get back into the shorts, also failed, and we're now back above the weekly pivot. Looks like we might even retest it today. This is setting up for a long, not a short, in my humble opinion. This is the smaller time frame. So I think if we got down to here, I would be very tempted to go against my bias and trade this long. Maybe back to the daily pivot even, because what you've then got is a double bottom, higher high, higher low, higher high. A higher low is anywhere in this region here. So weekly pivot, yep, that's probably the first port of call, but I'd be pumping for the daily pivot to find that potential long back up to the trend line. So I think that's where I'm at on the Aussie today. Yes, I'm extremely bearish, but I don't see that as an option right now. I think we've got to come back below intraday trade lines, which will be up here, I suppose, in the first instance. I haven't even drawn them on my chart. But you'll be looking at breaking that down before you thought short. And if you then come back to what I just said, down to the daily pivot, you've then broken the intraday trend line. If you put in a higher low there and get back above that and then retest it, that to me would be the signal to go long, but definitely taking profit at that trend line. And I'm in no doubt that I'm not a bull, the Aussie. There's no doubt about that. But I can, if I see a trade opportunity to there, then I think that's probably the way I would like to go today. All bets are off, of course, if we just go straight up here, because then I'll be looking for one of those levels that I spoke of before. Monthly pivot would be the first of them. I think that's probably a reasonable place for me to look for a short as well. So whilst I'm still a massive bear, the Aussie, I can absolutely see that there's potential for this to go long before it goes short. I'll work backwards and go Aussie, Swissy, and these are going to be very, very similar, of course. I think the difference with the next two I'm going to show you is that we have actually broken the support down. So we've come below these strong support levels. If I go to the monthly chart, you can see that's pretty clear. We've broken everything except this bar here, which was back in 2014-15, which anybody who was trading in 2014-15 will remember that candle and why it's there. It was the decoupling of the Euro and Swissy, and that kind of candle you don't want to see anytime soon. That's just ouch. That's no good. If you're on the right side of it and you just happen to be in front of the chart and can press stop or press cash in very, very quickly, then happy days. But wow, I remember that vividly, really remember it. But you know, that support level is gone. This close here below that, what is it? The levels around about the 66 mark, 66 and a half mark. We're retesting that, and that's the monthly chart we're looking at, of course. So that's substantial, in my humble opinion. I think any way to get short here now that we've come back above the monthly pivot is a bargain, and certainly I'll be looking to do that. I'll be looking for a setup, of course, rather than just go, oh, okay, this is a good place to go short. I don't do that. I have to have a reason so to do from a point of view. But I think Aussie Swissy, because we have broken that support level and we're retesting it now, if we can find a way maybe to trade underneath that bar or something like that, yeah, I think that's the way to go, frankly. In terms of today, the Aussie Swissy, as I said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go now because we have come to a strong resistance level. It looks like, to me, in fact, if we were to come back below the monthly pivot and retest it, that would be probably good enough for me. There's a nice confluence area, or almost a confluence area. We could use any one of these highs we liked and put it there, say. So price back underneath this trend line, retest it, even back to retest the monthly pivot. I think I'd be in short at that point. I know I'd be in short at that point if we do, or if we are afforded that luxury at some stage today. But you know, the theme is always going to be the same. Because we're now in retracement, I need to see a resistance broken and then proven false. And as soon as I see that, no matter what it is, if it's the monthly pivot, happy days. If it's the trend line, happy days. But if I see that happen and then retest it, I'm short. And that's going to be the same on every one of these. I've already got an order placed on Aussie yen. I called it my just in case trade, and it's there. It's probably also to do with FOMO. It's probably one and the same thing. What I deduced here was if I go to sleep and or it gets to
There's a,
Friday.
sorry, mate. There's a short in the FTSE that
Right, mate.
that everybody can take.
Go to you.
All right, you got to be quick on this. Get your shorts in now. Your stops are going to be around about 10 pips. Maybe let me just see if I can grab the screen, but just to give you those parameters, stops are around about 10 pips. We've got time here, so we're okay, I think. Now we're only going short to go long, so this is hopefully going to provide us a free trade to the upside. So really, the short is in the market at this level already. Now the stops are going to be at the high here, which is about 6 pips, but you're going to have to add a couple on there. So look for around about 8 to 9 pips for a stop loss if the market is going to go through that level. Now I don't think it's going to go too far, but the problem is we could be in all sorts of trouble if we try and fight the trend. But quite like this little 5-minute bar here. You could even trade the low of that bar if you like, if you want to see a break of bar. Now, all we're really doing is aiming here. So we're aiming for around about 15, 16 pips to the downside. And the idea, we'll have a look at that area and see if it holds. If it doesn't hold there, then we'll look down here. But we just want to get along in the market at any point. So don't be too greedy on it, because if this is all that's on offer, it won't matter, because what we're going to do is place the long there. If it comes down, we're going to put a long down here, put these stops at break even, and then if it pops up, it will take these stops out, but it should allow us to ride the wave to the upside. Now, if it comes lower, it doesn't matter. You've still got the profit between this point and this point. And if it pops down too low, you may as well close the trade. You know, if the actual trend changes, which is going to change at this point here, if it pops under that point, then you may as well close the trade. But if you can go long here, or even at the lows, then you're in really good shape. But as I say, there's no need to be too greedy, because it's going to be, if it does come down and we get the long on, it'll be a free trade. And if it comes down, all you're waiting for it to do is go back up again, take your stop out, and keep going. So I'm just trying to play the long, but I'm trying to play the long with a freebie. So I am looking for some downside now in the FTSE. And then if I can get that downside, then we will get a free trade down here. So we're looking for around about 74.38, which on your charts, if you're at 74.56, you're looking for around about 20 pips. So you're looking for around about the 7,500 level would be the area to try and get your trade on. So yeah, a little trade going on here, mate, if we can get it. No pivots are in the way. Let's just double check the UK 100 as well. No pivots are in the way there either. So yeah, that's the plan right now, mate. Just looking for a little pop to the downside to try and take advantage of the upward move.
Happy days. Love the shorts to get long and the longs to get shorts. I used to get in trouble for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a dangerous. Well, it's not a dangerous strategy, because really, we've only got a 10 pip stop loss, and even if you go in light, everybody has to choose what their exposure has to be. And I have to say, if you guys employ good money management, then it doesn't really matter what you do with these trades too much. You just got to make sure that you're safe and put your stop in the right place, and don't trade too high. The thing with this is that it's much better in some respects to go in at half of 1% or a quarter at 1%, and then the idea really at this point, let me just put that trend line back in here. Let me do this. The idea with trading a long to go short is that if you go in light on the first one, because we're looking for upside and we're looking for sustained upside, we're looking for a trend really to continue. What you can do is go in, let's say you go in at half of 1% at this level if it comes down. So you're going at half of 1% here. Now you've got all that profit really potentially in the bank. Now if it comes up to this level, that's the point to add. You can trade the breakout at that point, because you've got something in the bank. So if it comes down and gets us in, then we can trade this point and see if we can go a little bit higher from the trend. So yeah, I would add rather than I'd be looking to add to the trade rather than trying to go all in the first instance, especially with one of these shorts to go long, because that it is, as I say, a little bit more of a difficult technique, to try and get, try and pick a high in a really strong move to the upside is inevitably a tricky thing to have to do. And you can see the market is popping up now, and it might even take some stops out. But I'm sticking with it. That's the plan, mate. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go back to, we've now got 30-minute candles that have changed, so we will, I've lost my control panel. Love it when that happens. There it is. Okay, happy days.
Now, the other thing about this, sorry, just incidentally, one of the reasons that I am looking at the short is because we have got a data release. And it's unusual for a market to continue before a data release. We've popped to the upside, which is great, but it's unusual for us not to come back and have a rest when there's a data release out, because there's going to be a little bit of speculation. So that's the other reason I quite like this trade, this type of trade. It's not something I would do all the time, but on a day like today, I think it's okay. It's a decent play.
Pat Boone. On a day like today, something like that. Could have been Pat Boone, I think. We will. We'll get
Paul. There's banned for another year.
Email Paul. Okay. Right. I was talking about Aussie yen, which is of course my pick for trading the Aussie short at present. And I've actually got two positions on this. So I'm not in the market. I've got two orders on this, and they are very much the conservative way to trade these particular scenarios. But I'm on the weekly chart here, and the reason I'm looking at the weekly chart here is because what I see is a break and retest of a level. Now you could probably use this trend line if you wanted to. Break, retest, reject. You could probably use this trend line if you wanted to, which gives you a bang on pretty much break and retest of that level. So I think that is a signal for me, and I think this candle all but closed that gap as well. So this is a signal for me that price can, if it were to come back to this level, accelerate and go and test the lows again. So for that reason, I have an entry underneath that bar, got a stop loss above it, and my first take profit will be at the open of that bar right there. So from that point forward, who knows? We'll just let it rip and see what happens. Now, I've also got an order on the monthly chart, which is actually it's pretty much the same level. Can't be. Let me go there. Not the monthly chart, the daily chart, sorry. Can't see it there. Aussie yen. I want to come and talk about that one. Aussie Kiwi in a minute. So on the daily chart, I've also got an order, but you can't see it there. And I'm actually trading this bar here, which is now probably not the best reason, because the stop loss would have been just above the monthly pivot, and that would have been hit had we been taken into the trade. It's not a huge thing for me. And there's that break and retest I was talking about before. So, gee, a lower high here looks good for me. So I'll leave that order in place. It's underneath this bar with the stop pretty much where price is right now. But if I were to get a lower high here in this area, and I'll be hunting this on a smaller time frame, not the daily chart. So I guess if I'm talking about, let's go there. So what I want to see, now we've got a break above the monthly pivot, get back underneath it and retest it. And I've probably got some trend lines that can help me here, give me a little bit of confluence. Let's try that one. That'll do. So I've got exactly what I'm looking for here. What I'm looking for, as always, to negate the potential for this to reverse, is for resistance to break, be proven false, and then get the retest of the confluence area. If I see that on any time frame, then I'm in like Flynn and I'm going short. He was Australian, we're all Flynn. Very promiscuous man, but
Who, Flynn?
Errol Flynn, yes.
Was he Australian?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, mate.
Well, we claim everybody.
Oh, there's something that you learn. You didn't have him in your barley presentation, did you?
Actually, I might have. I may well. I can't remember now.
I'll tell you, I don't think you're going to top that this year.
No? Oh, I'm sure
Well, how are you going to top that last one? I mean, you know.
I'm sure we'll find something, mate.
Yeah.
Bit of a giggle, but it's all true, you know. I enjoy doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
What was I talking about? Oh, how I was going to negate
Errol Flynn.
how I was going to negate this potential reversal here, right, on Aussie yen. And look, you know, if you're serious about charting, then how can you deny that this is a potential reversal? You've got a bullish engulfing bar here to pretty much turn into a double bottom. You've got a significant higher low on a support level, which is the weekly pivot. You've then come up to the monthly pivot, put in another higher low, taken out the monthly pivot. Why wouldn't you be thinking this can go long? Why am I asking myself that question, Ash? Because I'm completely.
I don't know.
I'm completely biased in the opposite direction. Because for me, what has to happen is we have to get back above here. You know, there's a heck of a lot of resistance above us, and you know, we may be risk on for a portion of today, maybe even today, maybe even for the week. I don't know, and I don't know why we would. But if we are, then who cares? All I need to see is resistance broken and proven incorrect. So I'm looking for false breaks off resistance, and that will be my mantra for the week. It doesn't matter what cross I'm trading. If it's Aussie, then I'll be looking for breaks of resistance because we have that potential for the reversal. I want to see the reversal of the reversal, or the potential reversal, if you like. So I need to see it broken down, and that breakdown will happen if we get a false break for me of either the pivots or the trend lines. So that's the mantra for the week. I'll go straight to the euro and the 30-minute charts now, because we've got new 30-minute candles, and these are the ones I do like to trade. The second candle of London session is a ball terror. I like it. This is done exactly as we suggested that it might off this head and shoulders up here, and it's just played out perfectly, absolutely perfectly. We had similar to what I've just drawn on Aussie yen, break of the neckline here, retested the neckline. How we didn't get in there, I've got absolutely no idea, but we didn't, or I didn't. Hopefully some of you did. Then you got that breakdown level retested again. There's no entry there for me, I've got to say, but maybe on a smaller time frame there was. That was the one, and I said at the time, you know, when we missed that was the one to take. And if you had done that, wow, you'd be looking pretty good right now. You're at a strong support level in terms of horizontal levels and price levels, I suppose. So that's going to be the key here. But if you, and there's that old channel of mine, Ash, that we've been following for so long. It's still the euro, still in play. Still in play. And as soon as this level goes, I've got no doubt that we'll be down here and maybe retesting the 105.50 level, which is this red line down here. So I don't see any way out of this for the euro at the moment. So again, same applies. I'm looking for a retrace. So yeah, you're right, Lewis. You're right. So any retracement here to a resistance level is I'm happy. Well, makes me happy. So I'll be looking for that to happen as well. The issue you've got, of course, right now is that you're in massively oversold territory. So you've just got to wait for that retracement. Sorry, you don't have to do anything. I have to wait for that retracement. And that's exactly what I'll do. Minimum back to the weekly pivot and this breakout level. And if I see that and a lower high there, happy days, that'll be the place to get short for me. So there's really nothing except, I suppose, looking for potential longs right now. Do I want to go that strongly against the tide? Look, a bit like you, Ash, I think, you know, I don't really care. If the setup's there, I'll take the setup. So what I need to see here is some form of potential reversal. I guess we've got a mini double bottom here. If I were to see maybe we hit this trend line that I haven't got on my chart, little intraday trend line sitting there. If we were to hit that, come back and put in a higher low here, then I'd be willing to take that trend line on. I don't like to trade into the high out of the day without taking profit, so I wouldn't do that. So I'd look to enter here, maybe take some profit here, then get out at the daily pivot. That's all I need. That'll do if I get the right candle to trade. So that's absolutely possible. Have we been triggered on the pound yet? No, we're still in the middle of nowhere.
That's probably no bad thing, actually, is it? Because, you know, those GDP numbers might take you in and go, hopefully.
Yeah, as long as they stay in the right direction, mate, and in the one direction, and we don't get slipped to Billio, then yeah, maybe good.
Yeah,
we will see. So as far as the 30-minute charts are concerned, it's pretty clear what I'm waiting for, and everything is the same. I'm waiting for a break of resistance and that to be proven false. We've already got the break here. Get back underneath here and retest. We go short, exactly the same on every other pair. The only other one I wanted to talk about, and I've got no idea what's happened here, with maybe they've leaked some news that they're going to cut interest rates on the Kiwi tomorrow morning, because, you know, the Kiwi's just gone nuts to the downside. And I'll give you a good parallel here, Ash. If you look at the Aussie versus the Kiwi,
yeah,
on the daily chart, super bullish, super bullish.
yeah, yeah.
If you look at Euro versus the Kiwi on the daily chart, super bullish, not so much super bullish. So that's come off a bit. So comparative, Aussie's a little bit stronger than the Euro. Pound Kiwi, daily chart, bearish. Oh, sorry, I was on the 4-hour chart. Super bullish for 2 days and now coming off. So I'm inclined to think that the Euro versus the pound and the Euro versus the Aussie is a sell based on that comparative. And funnily enough, using the Kiwi to come to that conclusion is kind of out of left field, but there it is. So I'm thinking short Euro pound, and we are getting a retest of the monthly pivot here. So the 4-hour chart's going to look a little bit interesting. Let's get rid of these lines. I don't need anything. What have we got? We've got a line here. We've got a line here. Same again, I suppose. False break, back under, away we go. Euro pound, and the other one, Aussie Euro, Aussie. Where's that? Here. Goodness gracious, Ignatius. Could I possibly trade? Yes, I could, but I'd need a daily pivot test. So I can't trade this until we get back up to here. But if we did, and we got a lower high, that's an absolute no-brainer for me. Maybe even, you know, if you're super risk appetite is strong, then this candle may even be. There's no way on God's green earth I could trade this as a short right now. That's for sure. Got to see the pullback to the daily. So I won't even mention what I was going to say, but we have broken down this level, and that's interesting. Up to here, lower high. I can't believe I'm saying that I'm trading something short against the Aussie, but that is compelling. That really is compelling. We have come back inside this range. A lower high here looks really interesting. How can the Aussie rally, Ash? I don't get it.
Well, the risk on mood that we saw in Asia, I think is, it's just that's what it's deciding right now, isn't it? I guess that's the reason, mate. But we're just going to go with it. We're just going to have to go with it and see what we can get out of it. But we are on the FTSE around about maybe 5 pips away from our first buy zone on the FTSE. So we might have to be a little bit cute here. Now there's an option that we could move our stops to break even. I'm not that keen to do that just yet. I'd like to get my long on the market. Yeah, let's do that. So we're getting fairly close to where we want to get into the upside now. Just coming down. It's just a little bit further off, about 6 or 7 pips away. We could move stops on break even to the downside, but I'm a bit concerned still about a pop. But I don't. I wanted to see if I can get the long on first. If it comes down a little bit further and we see signs of signal, yeah, no, we're okay for right now. But signs of signals of reversal, then we might put our stop at break even instead of getting our long in the market first. But we're getting pretty close now, mate. We're only about 5 pips away from our first buy zone. Now that doesn't mean we're going to buy. It just means we're going to have a look and see whether there's an opportunity to buy. What I'd like is
Take
a
some
bar.
profit on the short. Is that what you would do?
No profit taken on the short. So
Okay.
it's just this purely just to go long. So the short is in play, so we can go long. And all we're going to do
so
is
you just want to use that equity. Yep, got it.
Yeah. So the profit that we've got on the short is we're not going to make anything on the short. That's not the plan. The plan is to make all the money to the upside. But what we're trying to do is get it a free trade to the upside, where and the idea is if this is the buy, if we do buy here, it doesn't matter if we buy here. We can buy here and still we got a free trade, no problem. But let's say this is our buy zone. If we can get in here and the market pops up, as soon as it takes out this stop, we move this stop to break even, and we just see if it goes. If it takes us out, it takes us out. No big deal. We know we've had a free trade and it's cost us nothing for the day. So that's what I'm currently looking at. But it's just whether we can get down just that little bit more or not. And if we can't, if we start to see some strength just before it, like we may be seeing here, we're just gonna have to move stops to break even on the short. And just accept that we didn't get our long in the market, but it's got to come down a little bit further. We need at least a little bit of room to maneuver between the two trades. Otherwise, we could get stopped out on the short, and then it could come right the way back again because we're quite shallow on the long and get stopped out there. So we need it to touch a level realistically. But we've got a bit of time here, mate. And the reason I don't want to move stops to break even just yet on the short is that a healthy test wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, and if we can get a healthy test,
you've got a level there that you're looking at. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. A healthy test back to the upside wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. If it tests and refuses, then at least we can move stops at break even with a bit more confidence that we've got a hold point. But here it comes anyway, mate. We might just get it here. We can see that there's a little bit of buying coming in. So it looks like this at this stage. I'm looking at this first buy zone as being the probable area for us to get the trade in. And as I say, if we're early, we're early. It's no big deal. Because if it comes down, we're really looking for the market to be strong enough to come back through the level and keep going. So, but there's a little battle going on here, as you can see, between the two areas. But very often, these little battle zones, get people in earlier than they should get in, and that the area that is marked off is the area that it will eventually test. And to be quite honest, if we were to get in any more shallow than this point down here, then we really are probably putting on a trade which is fairly worthless. We've got to get some levels tested. It's got to be this point ideally. This point would be the absolute brilliant, that'd be the ultimate. But let's at least go for the first shallow point and see if we can get it. About 5 pips away though, mate. So we got a little bit of room down here. We got 5 minutes left before the top of the hour. And we have to bring the time correlation into play as well. What would be fantastic is if we can come right down here at the top of the hour, which will also be a 4-hour candle. Now that 4-hour candle will look, it won't look too bad actually. Let's have a look at what the hourly candle will look like. Hourly candle, not the worst thing either, but it'd be fantastic if it comes down here because people tend to trade at the first and second point, the first the hourly close and the hourly open. It would be fantastic if it came down here, closed down here on the hour, and then we just buy straight in and see if we get the bounce. So that's what I am waiting for, mate. But we're just a little bit away. We got about, as I say, about another 5 pips before we can really do anything.
Okie doke. LT, no, definitely not. The Aussie short is still in my head, and I do have 2 orders short on Aussie yen, both on the daily and the weekly charts, but they are very much a long way from entry at this point. The reason I'm saying Euro Aussie short is because it's a purely technical setup, and it's kind of a race to the bottom with Euro and Aussie, and it appears the Euro's got less supporters at this point in time than does the Aussie. So the Aussie can rally its head off as far as I'm concerned, and I hope that is the case, because it will give me a far better price than I've got at the moment. But I'm absolutely an Aussie bear, and I can't get away from that. And nothing's going to change that anytime soon. So I'm really just waiting for a break of resistance to be proven false on any charts, any strong resistance level. If I see a false break of resistance, then I'm back into the shorts on the Aussie for sure. So no, my bias has not changed one bit. And I think we're done, mate, are we?
I think so, mate. Yeah, I think we are. You know, we're not in the long, but everybody knows what the deal is. You know, you're just waiting for a sign and signal down at you know, saying around about another 5 pips. I was hoping to get us into this trade before we close the show, but we could be meandering around here for a little while. So I'm not sure whether there's going to be any point in waiting.
Well, we've got 3 minutes. We might as well just hang around for that 3 minutes, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we'll hang around for the 3 minutes. I'm not sure whether even that's going to get us in, but we'll see. You know, 3 minutes is a long time when it comes down to trading, especially when you're only after 5 pips. So I think there's a possibility that we get there, mate. But what may well happen is that we hold here for the top of the hour, and then we drive down a little bit before just as we go into the new hour. But let's keep our fingers crossed, because it'd be fantastic to give everybody a nice trade to start the day with. I know it's the end of the day for some people, but ending the day with a free trade means that you can all go to bed with the market effectively doing its thing for you, and you might even make some residual income while you sleep. So,
makes a big difference to your sleep, doesn't it? Really.
Oh,
it's a nice
free trade
thing. Yeah, absolutely.
What's better than a free trade of the market, which is making money? I mean,
especially when you got some news coming up as well and some people talking.
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
Ride on it.
This is the thing, you know, and I suppose that's why it's important, you know, as soon as you got that, you know, if now I'm talking like this is going to happen, but I don't, I'm not being, I'm trying not to be, you know, overconfident with it. That's not my intention. But let's talk like it's going to happen. You know, if you guys manage to get the stopped out of your short and get a stop in place on the long, as Jeff says, there's so much news out later on with Jerome Powell and Christine Lagarde. If those guys play ball and help this market out, then there really could be some nice profit in this one for free. So you know, let's hope that does actually come to fruition. We got another minute to go before the top of the hour, and there's still little hint that we could come down a bit, but it's just holding on here, mate. It's holding on as by its fingers. Now I've just got to check this line here just to make sure that that's not why. No, it's a funny level, this, actually. I'm not 100% certain why it's stopping here. I guess yeah, not 100% sure why it's here. It's we're starting to see the buy orders come in, but right now we still are. So here we go. The last 15 minutes of the hour. Yeah, looks like it's going to hold for the top of the hour, mate. So we still still not triggered into the long, unfortunately. Maybe we'll give it a minute or so. So if we pop down, here he comes. Right, let's get ready. No. Yeah, we've got 5 or 6 pips to the downside here still. Let's make sure my other account is ready to go. Yeah. Don't think it's going to give us it before the close, mate.
No, we could be here at 10 o'clock tonight, and it's still there, mate.
This is the problem, and actually, you know, we're gonna have to start being careful now, because and I'll probably move those stops to break even, because the problem that we've got now is that we start to step into the GDP release number, and people might buy into that, and then we'll be in all sorts of trouble. So my suggestion now is get those stops to break even on the short side. We have tested a bit of a high on the short side. There's a chance you get stopped out before you get your long in play, but I don't fancy messing around with the data release. So that's going to be the plan. But yeah, we may as well wrap up, mate. We could be here for some time.
Yep. Right, mate. Things to do, places to go, people to see. So I will have to bail myself, and we will bid you guys adieu. Again, my bias hasn't changed one iota on the Aussie. I'm just waiting for a nice place to get in and a nice setup coming off resistance. So nothing's changed there. Euro waiting for a retracement back to the weekly pivot, and that's pretty much what I'm waiting for. I'm not going to get any trades anytime soon, I can assure you. But the daily chart on Aussie yen and the weekly chart on Aussie yen, yes, still holding those two orders, no problem at all. So, mate, we will catch you and everyone else in the room hopefully tomorrow.
Great stuff, mate. All right. So yeah, have a great rest of the day, guys. I hope this trade works out. We will be back same time, same trade channel tomorrow at 5 to 8.
Sounds like a date. Don't you be late. See you, mate.
See you, buddy.
Have a good one, everyone. Bye for now.